All right. Well, just so that we keep our time, we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll let others join us. Good morning, Karen. We'll let others join us as they're able. Definitely see some of our numbers going up, so that's great. I just wanted to take a minute to, we wanted to start these fashion town halls to be able to have these discussions with our local industry and community about how all of this is affecting us. We feel like this is really time for everyone to come together. So what we want to do is to be able to create these opportunities for more engagement, sharing what we're up to, how we're going to help the industry here locally to thrive even under these conditions, and to really understand better what it is that you need from us. So I just want to take a second to introduce myself. My name is Nina Means. I am the director for the ACC Fashion Incubator. We are a program that was developed with the City of Austin and Austin Community College and Gerber Technology. So it's an interlocal agreement that's created a really great opportunity for small business here locally in Austin to thrive. And we are looking for opportunities to be able to continue to offer more virtual learning experiences in the future. A little bit about my background. My career actually started off in public health. So I actually worked in international health metrics, really on programs like this that are, infectious disease related. And now about 10 years ago, I switched my career into fashion. And so I've been working as a fashion designer. I started my own business. I have advised on businesses, and I've taught at the higher education level. So now we're really kind of parlaying a lot of those experiences into this moment, which, as unfortunate as it's been, has been completely unexpected that we would be in this position currently, but we're really looking for ways to drive more value and help emerging fashion businesses stay relevant and push ahead, in these very unprecedented times. So just a quick note, I am working from home, just like many of you. You're observing Governor Abbott and Mayor Adler's recommendations to shelter in place and to stay at home. So thank you so much for doing that and calling in to our virtual experience. A part of working from home is that I have a 2-year-old. So if we have a moment where there's a little person who crawls up on my lap, thank you so much for understanding that these are the times and places that we're in. So we're very excited to be able to talk with you about what it is that we do, but we're doing that alongside of our families. So thank you in advance. So I do want to kind of get into a little bit more about reintroducing our program and what we're all about. Hi, Ryan. Good to see you. So what we want to do is reintroduce what it is that we do with our program. Our program is really designed for small business development. We were intending to start a in-person 12-month boot camp experience where businesses will go through a much highly targeted fashion industry experience where they're really learning everything from, managing their cost and being able to develop their product assortment, to understanding the legal ramifications, how to sell from their B2B all the way to their D2C. So really understanding their wholesale model versus their direct-to-consumer models, and really helping them to increase their distribution ultimately. So really seeing sales increase, revenue increase, and eventually matriculate out of the program to a much stronger, more viable space. We are still looking at doing that. We're just looking at altering the way that we would deliver that content as we had initially intended in the short term. So we're really looking at creating educational experiences that we'll be offering initially as free value-added experiences once a week. So you'll be joining us back a bit more regularly for those educational Wednesdays. We will let you know when we actually launch that. But for the time being, these town halls are an opportunity for us to connect with you, to ask you questions about where it is that you are, what kind of support you need, and then also to kind of start highlighting some of those emerging businesses that are still doing incredible work under these circumstances. So you'll see a lot more content coming from us from this space. So definitely come back to us here on YouTube, and this will be our primary place of communication. And together we'll get over this time of uncertainty. So again, please use the question box on the RSVPs whenever you guys RSVP for these events. We definitely want to hear from you. We're in this together, so we'll want to engage with you that way. And also use the chat box today. If there's, I'm trying to answer as many of those questions in the body of the content of this talk. So you'll hear a lot of your questions answered over the course of our discussion. But if there's some certain things that we'll be tabling for future talks, or if there's follow-on questions that you have, I'll let you know, or you can use your comment box today to be able to ask those questions, and I'll kind of try to address those toward the end. So we'll circle back. But I want to talk first about the good news. What is the good news of what's happening right now regarding our ability to fight against this disease and be able to provide more coverage and equipment to the community? So right now, ACC has actually supported the efforts through donations of unused personal protective equipment from our health sciences department. So what that means is that we were able to actually take all of these extra surgical masks, gowns, gloves, all of these incredible equipment that was typically being used for like the nursing department and programs that have actual bachelor's programs at ACC that are now not needing for class and don't need those pieces of equipment. They're now able to actually donate those supplies to our local healthcare workers on the front line. So they actually made that donation just over a week ago. And so that's really something that we do we supply that to our local public health agencies. We have a task force for emergency management here at the college, and they actually are able to prioritize the distribution to healthcare workers throughout the region. So that's a really exciting thing that's happening. Another thing that's exciting for our department as well is, we've really been able to actually work on consulting with local institutions, UT, North Carolina State, and other programs, material scientists that are here locally to help advise on our local community for what kind of improved solutions we may be able to find. So the design of the mask, the materials utilized for the mask. We've been partnering with companies like Novocentrix, really understanding the nanoparticles that are, this is kind of getting more into the science of fashion and being able to connect fashion, science, and this need that we now have. So we've been doing a lot of technical advising and a lot of consulting, which is a pleasure for us to be able to do in this time. We're also going to be sharing with you in the coming days and weeks additional projects that we're taking on. However, our limitations with how we're able to work is we actually have to vet all of our projects through the college. So we don't do projects that are just building private industry. We are actually taking on projects that are meeting the need currently. So we actually go through our emergency management task force within the college to be able to identify projects that will help us to give the most coverage to our local community. So we'll be kind of sharing about those as we're completing those projects via social media. So if you're not already on the mailing list with us, feel free to sign up through our website, or you can send an email to us at fashion.incubator@austincc.edu. We are really looking for, an improvement on, some of these protective equipment and protective devices that even for the community that are being suggested by the CDC. So we're just trying to make sure that we have the best coverings available for the general population as well as healthcare workers. So definitely, keep a watch on all of our different social media channels. You can follow us on Twitter at ACC Fashion Incube. That's just a Twitter thing because you can't have incubator on the whole list. So it's ACC Fashion Incube. And then on all of our other handles, it's ACC Fashion Incubator. So Instagram, LinkedIn, our Facebook page, feel free to follow us there for additional information. But again, if you're looking to be added to our mail list, and that's where we'll be sending out RSVPs for these talks in the future, it's fashion.incubator@austincc.edu. So I want to move into the part of our talk that's going over a little bit more about what's happening in the industry as a whole, because I believe that a lot of us are here because what we want to do is to say, okay, I clearly see that my sales are down. I see that luxury retail is struggling. I see that, customer confidence is diminishing, that, personally, we're making decisions to pay bills, and to, buy food and things like this, as opposed to buying, additional things like another shirt or another pair of earrings. So What does that really mean for fashion businesses at this time? So one of the things that we do to stay up on what's going on is, we do a lot of, staying on top of a lot of the McKinsey reports. And so what I wanted to do is to kind of start to distill some of that information, because some of these get quite lengthy and a bit technical. And so here, what we'll be able to do is to be able to kind of distill some of the content to be able to explain to you what's happening in our industry, and then to hopefully drive questions that are more related to what your individual businesses may be going through. So I don't want to kind of hamper you down with all of the regional figures and percentages, but I do want to give you just kind of an overview. So while we're experiencing kind of the effect of kind of consumer lack of confidence, as I mentioned just a moment ago, we're seeing kind of a continued need for radical transparency throughout the life cycle of the product. So while we have a little bit of extra time to be able to think about how we're going to business, really focusing on radical transparency at this time about how the product is made, what it's made out of, where it can be purchased, why it can be purchased that way. These are opportunities for businesses and emerging businesses really to be able to really think through, how are we being radically transparent in the product that we're bringing to market. Another thing is sustainability. Sustainability really is emerging as a primary focus. And prior to coronavirus making its very present, impact in our daily lives, sustainability was something that was already on the rise, and it's really going to continue to push forward as our primary focus. Is really, if your brand is not thinking about sustainability, and if it's not addressing these issues, a lot of consumers are really not looking to make those purchases. Generation Z specifically is really concerned about their long-term impact on the global climate. And so as brands are looking to go to market, it's really important that we're looking at ways that we're driving that conversation forward and being able to address those issues of sustainability. So the materials, the carbon footprint on delivery, how are those things happening? And what can you do as a small business to be able to do that, to be able to kind of mitigate a lot of that? We understand that sustainability is expensive, and so a lot of times it's about the continuum of sustainability. So a lot of times it's like, what did I do better today that I didn't do yesterday? And so looking at how do we improve over time. The last thing that I want to bring out in terms of areas for shift and opportunity, even in this climate, is, this is a funny phrase, and I think anyone who's in the conversational space, kind of a bit more casual, you understand this phrase. But McKinsey used it, so I'm using it here. They say getting woke. So anyone who knows about getting woke is really about just being aware about what's happening around you. So getting woke, whether it's about knowing or championing a social or environmental cause. So it's really understanding what's happening socially that's impacting your business, what's happening environmentally that's impacting your businesses, and really connecting your brand to a cause that other people care about. There's my little one. Hi, Pumpkin. So it's really about championing a cause that your customer cares about. So consumers are really beyond this idea of mindless fashion. And so they're really not concerned about, finding things that are just pretty anymore. They want to see something that's functional, something that's sustainable, something that has transparency. They understand how it was made, who made it. And then, that it's connected to something that they care about. So these are opportunities for brands in this time when things may be a bit slow, to really kind of step back and really retool and take a look at your model and see how you're kind of addressing these three primary concerns of consumers in this day and age. So what we'll be doing is, a lot of this is really just an opportunity to address the shift that's needed already. And, sometimes this extra time just gives us a moment to do that. What we'll be doing is we'll actually be sharing these full documents, the full McKinsey reports on our LinkedIn. And so if you want to actually get a chance to read the detail reports, as some of you may, we'll actually be posting those on our LinkedIn. So go ahead and head over to LinkedIn and follow us there for it's ACC Fashion Incubator. And we will be posting these articles as well as details on our upcoming discussions and town halls there. And you'll be able to actually get a chance to drill down into that. But I will actually pull a lot of that detail out here and be able to distill a lot of that information. So if you don't have time to read the report, or if you're concerned about understanding how to apply the report, we'll be talking more about the application of that information in this space. So feel free to join us back here. We'll be talking about it. We'll be taking pieces out of it and having that discussion in a bit more detail in this space. So, really, I want us to kind of leave you on a positive note. This is, the good news here is that, there are a lot of things that we can do during this time that are low cost or no cost that can really drive value for your brand. So, we really want to focus on what are the ways that we're able to create value. Most people don't really like to be sold during, the best of times. So sometimes, you're going to have to, this is, but whenever things are difficult, for people, it's easy for them to disengage and turn off. So I think what we really want to do is to kind of help you kind of think of ways outside of the box to continue to reduce that fear or concern about engaging with your brand, and really be able to find ways to connect with things that people care about. Oh, this is great. Thank you, Kanisha. I'm really glad that you're here with us. So here's really where you have an opportunity to really, reinforce your strengths, uncover some new ones, and really focus on, really finding value for your customer. So each time we meet, we're going to focus on sharing at least one additional tip on, how we can end our session with something a bit more positive. Entrepreneurs by nature, we do spend a lot of time by ourselves, so this may be kind of more of what you're used to. But I think that there's an opportunity for us to kind of continue to support each other in these times, and to be able to get us over this hurdle of uncertainty together. So what I'd love to do is to kind of jump into some questions. And if you guys have questions that I need to address here, I believe that I do have a session moderator who's helping me with managing some of our inquiries here. If there's anything that I didn't answer, I'm actually going to be addressing more on mask design and fit on our Monday session. So any of the questions regarding materials, I think someone had asked me about using interlining or fusible, kind of like the Pellon or, those kinds of materials as a barrier layer inside of their mask design. That's perfectly fine. It's, it's not providing any additional, it's just kind of one more layer. So it's a bit more tightly woven. But what you want to do is that any mask wear is going to be something that's going to, need to be something that's worn temporarily, and only if you're outside and being exposed. So if as long as it's something that you can still breathe through, that's the primary goal at this point. But really the Pellon doesn't really do much more than what the a tightly woven cotton at this point would. And we'll go into more details about why on Monday, and we'll go into a bit more on the actual mask fit and design and why those particular parts of the mask or face coverings are so key. So we'll get into a little bit more of the detail on that. So anything regarding mask fit, design, or materials, we'll get into that more. And I'm actually gonna bring on one of our production coordinator. I'm gonna kind of bring her in briefly so that she can talk a little bit more about some of the science that we've been digging into to help substantiate some of our recommendations. However, we want you to feel supported, and we'll just be trying to give improvements. There's no silver bullet on this, but we will try to continue to provide improvements and opportunities for things like this in the future. So I'd love to take some questions. Let's see. I do have a table of some of your questions from before. Let me pull those up. Julie, could you send a couple over? I think that we had a couple. Let's see. So Monday we'll be back here at the same time, and it'll be 10 a.m. It's April 13th, and we'll be doing speaking more on COVID-19 face coverings. So don't forget to send us questions. So a lot of you were just curious. So I'm getting the questions popping through now. Thank you, Julie. So post-isolation fashion trends, fashion based on public gatherings, football, weddings, fundraisers. That's a good one. So this kind of goes back to some of what we were talking about earlier. A lot of the trends in terms of what we're looking at have to do with sustainability. I actually have a great contact who just did a Women's Wear Daily article on kind of post-pandemic trends. And so what I'm going to do is whenever we start doing, we'll be doing Mondays and Fridays for these discussions, and then we'll be doing Academic Wednesdays where it's going to be more educational content. So what we'll do is we'll actually start inviting in guests on Fridays. And so we'll actually be in conversation with some of these people who've been doing some of this very specific content. Come here, baby. Come here. So, what are local fashion companies doing to help their community in Austin? That's also something that we'll be doing. We're actually going to start bringing in emerging designers and highlighting the great work that you guys are doing. So what we'll be doing is, there's Pamela Torres with Classic Childhood, who I know has been doing great work in terms of providing face coverings for children. And Ross Bennett, who's been doing a lot of great work in terms of creating personal getting materials for face coverings as well. So we'll be doing a lot of that here soon. Jonathan, come here, baby. So a lot of those things we'll be doing, those kinds of, we'll be highlighting a lot of that stuff in the future. Any local vendors or companies that need help or have excess material. I know that in the future we will be cutting materials for assembly. And so what we will want to do is to be able to, hold on just a second. The joys of working from home. So what we're going to do is we're going to be highlighting a lot of these in much more detail. I don't think that we're going to have enough time in the next 5 minutes to address them as comprehensively as we'd like to. But I do want to let you know that a lot of these questions are going to be guiding. Our next steps and what the content will be. So thank you so much for these questions. Someone says, how can I help? Thank you. We're always looking for people who are wanting to help. A lot of people are stitchers. Some people are more technically minded. And so what we'd like to know is, what are your skill sets and what are you willing to learn? So we utilize a lot of digital technology in order to get ready for cutting our materials. And so what we're planning on doing is doing some online trainings on how to use that technology so that we can bring you into some of those processes. So whether it's working on our lifecycle management software or learning some of the digital pieces for, so there's certain kinds of skill sets that would be helpful. So if you already know how to pattern, or if you know how to Okay. This is just what it's like, guys. This is just real life. So welcome. So this kinds of skills that we're looking for are people who stitch, people who are good digitally, can share video, and thank you. And so I think there are other things that can be. It's okay, baby. So there are other things that we can do. What we'll do is we will post a list of all the different ways that you can help. And then that way what you can do is the next time you RSVP, let us know which of those things you can do. What we'll want you to do is to post which of those things that you can do. And then we will we'll connect you with projects that are going on that utilize your skill set. So thank you so much for that question. I think what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and get ready to close out here. But what we want to do is make sure that you guys, if you're not already on the mailing list, if you're not already on the mailing list, thank you. He's a sweet boy. If you're not already on the mailing list, please join us on fashion.incubator at austincc.edu. And if you're not, if you're not if you're not on our social yet, go ahead and start following us because we'll be posting there regularly. But what we'll really want to do is to be able to keep you guys connected. We do a lot of referring. So as you have skills that you think you would like to be able to utilize more, we do find people who are looking for those things. So I do quite a lot of, for lack of a better term, matchmaking for projects and skills. So let us know what you do or let us know what you need. People have asked us for stitchers or people ask us for pattern makers. And so if you have those skills, it would be helpful for us, if you share those things that we can help kind of bring you guys together. A lot of us are really needing, in the meantime, gainful employment. And so if we're not making as many sales, we need to be doing other things. And so we understand that. I've talked with other entrepreneurs in other industries that are like, hey, Nina, I'm just trying to figure out where my next, project is coming from. I'm trying to figure out where my next paycheck is coming from. And that's just real, and so what we want to do is to the best of our ability, we can't make any promises. The best of our ability is just to try to keep those connections going. So we would be happy to support that. We've been supporting it. We just haven't been officially, sharing that. So if you are, especially in these times, if you're finding that, hey, I'm a really great pattern maker, I've been doing it for a long time, but does anyone need that? We would love to talk with you. If you're a stitcher and you've been stitching for years and you're like, hey, I've got a lot of extra time. Does anyone need help getting through some of their supply? I absolutely have people who are asking me for that. So I actually have, I believe that what we would be able to do is to kind of create a lot more opportunities to connect. So continue to watch the space. We look forward to hearing from you via email, the chats, all of that. And we look forward to connecting with you guys here soon. So we're here at 10:30. I promised it was only going to be half an hour. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help. And we look forward to having the next conversation on really that mask fit and design and getting more into the materials and all the research that we've been doing on that front. So thank you again so much for your time. And thank you for your patience with my little one. He's a sweet one, but he's still 2. And so we really appreciate all of the community support as we're all navigating this together. Stay strong, stay safe, and stay at home. We'll see you guys later. Bye.